Kyle said that he wants to get drunk. First of all, he refused to compliment the wine that I gave him.
Well, I don't like wine.
But you ended up saying, as far as wine goes, it was pretty good. And that's enough of a compliment from Kyle. But I had to strangle it out of him.
Well,
and then he drank it in 3 big sips.
Well, I don't like it, but I don't like any wine or almost any alcohol at all.
Yeah.
So like I can't really say, oh, it's good, because like I don't think it's good. It's just it gets me drunk without tasting too horrible.
But that's good because some wine tastes too horrible. I could have had horrible wine, but I didn't. I had good wine. I'm gonna have some tea. Kyle's gonna also have some tea. He promised not to be a weird dick about it. That time I was kidding, Kyle.
Listen, I think
I was being for real earlier, but this time I was kidding. Yeah?
I'm not gonna say that I was in the world's best mood at the time.
Okay.
But I think maybe you also weren't in a great mood, and maybe
I was in a fine mood, Kyle. I just don't take shit anymore. That's my new motto. That's my 2018 motto: is no shit from nobody.
Everyone who says that's an asshole.
Not me. I'm nice. I'm not nice. I'm a kind person, and I'm friendly.
No. It wasn't that you offered me tea and I got mad. It was that you shoved tea in my face and told me to smell it, and it got me upset.
Well, you already had... First of all, we did go over this. You thought it was boiling hot tea, but it was not hot. It was just the tea leaves.
No.
And you had already agreed to drink the tea, which is why I was like, here, smell the tea you're about to drink. That's a part of it. You're supposed to smell it.
I just want to put it out there. Blanket accord going forward.
Okay.
I don't need to smell the tea. I don't need to smell the weed at the dispensary. I don't need to smell the tea at Keith's house.
No, you have to smell the tea. That's part of it.
I'm not going to smell the tea.
It's part of it.
I'm not going to smell the tea.
I'm
not smelling the tea!
I need you to take back the idea that smelling weed is the same as smelling tea. Tea is explicitly a food. Weed is a drug that people pretend has different smells.
I mean...
It does have different smells.
Occasionally.
I know about terpenes. I don't want to hear about it. It's all bullshit. Weed either gets you high or it doesn't. It's either good or it's bad. Strains are fake. Listen, I want everyone out there to know.
That's not true.
Strains are fake. Strains are fake. Strains are not real.
That's not true.
That is absolutely true. Strains are fake. Kyle, I'm going to offer you to smell these.
Okay.
Would you please smell?
I will smell it. It smells like tea.
You're an idiot.
What the fuck? It just smells like tea. It's tea.
It smells like caramel. Come on.
Fucking listen to this. Keith is all like, weed strains are fake. It's all bullshit. You need to look at the science on this, but definitely this tea smells different from this other tea.
It's true. I mean, tea is a food that grows in the ground that you pick specifically to taste it. That's what it's for. Weed is not specifically to be tasted. Like, tea has been cultivated intentionally for thousands of years to have certain tastes and smells and scents.
I mean, technically, people do also do that for weed. You know, your whole mention of terpenes.
Yeah, but not thousands of years.
I don't know.
Come on.
I got blood on my screen.
Here's what I need you to do. I need you to take another whiff of this, take a long whiff, and I want you to really think about it. What does it smell like?
Listen, I'm not saying this to be obstinate. I'm not trying to shit on the smell of teas. I'm just being 100% honest. It just smells like tea to me.
What if I went and I got a different tea and had you smell that? I'm gonna do that. I'll be right back. I need to get a cup anyway.
All right.
I'll be right back.
We're gonna pause it. And I'm gonna posit that Keith's tea is gonna smell like tea. Guys, I'm not saying that teas don't smell different. I'm just saying I don't smell them different. They smell the same to me. I'm not trying to tell anybody that their tea smells are fake. I'm just saying it's all tea to me.
All right, Kyle, we've got here. So what you have been smelling is a traditional Tie Guanyin oolong tea. The reason it's traditional is because it's more roasted than is currently in fashion. That's how I prefer it, is to be slightly more roasted. We're going to start with the most similar, and then we're going to go further away.
Aren't you guys thrilled that you showed up for this Resident Evil? Okay.
This is the most similar, Kyle. This is a Dongsong tea. Any differences there?
Yeah, I mean, it smells different.
Yeah. This one's kind of so this one, translates to honey orchid. There's a lot of honey and flowery sort of smells, which is actually pretty similar to the Tie Guanyin. This is the most different that I have. This is a Japanese green tea.
Yeah, I mean, green tea smells different.
You get a big whiff of that. I mean, like, it's way different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way... So now, do you see...
It smells like green tea.
Well, but that one smells like tea. They both smell like tea to you, which makes sense because they're both tea. But do you see the usefulness in differentiating between this...
No.
That smells like grass, and this one that smells like chocolate and caramel and, I guess, kind of like mulch. Like mulchy coffee, caramel.
I mean, yeah, I do think there's a difference between, like, black teas and green teas. Keith's just staring at me.
And then, now, so you agree there's a difference between the teas.
God, I hope you cut this out.
No, this is all staying in. This is your fault.
This is my fault.
Yep.
I did this.
This one's fun. This one's like in between the two. It's tough because it has to kind of be hot for you to get the real smell of it.
Yeah.
But you see how...
That one smells the same as the first one.
All I'm saying is you agree there's a difference in the way teas smell, but then every time I ask you to smell a tea, you say it smells like tea. If two things smell different, they can both smell like tea because they're both tea, but then you can't be like, all teas smell the same, and there's no reason to ever want to differentiate between how something tastes and how another thing tastes.
I never said that tea was fake. All I'm saying is that when I smell a tea, it just smells like tea, and I don't really smell anything else. Like, those teas smelled different, but mostly I'm just like, it's
Could
tea.
you smell something else? I'm not saying do you. Could you?
Like, hypothetically, could I smell a thing?
Like, yeah, if you decided to give a shit and to even be 1% indulging in the questions that I'm asking you, could you come up with words to describe the differences between what you're smelling?
I think it would be pretty tough.
Well, show me I'm not wrong and give it some gas.
But you could do it.
Well, okay, here I'm in a predicament because I feel like I could easily just say yes and get out of the conversation now, and that's my first inclination. But then I'm thinking, if I end this conversation, you're gonna make me go back to Resident Evil and stop playing Onrush?
Yeah.
So, for the sake of continuing to play Onrush, no, I think all teas smell the same forever.
Gay Seiko said, Keith, what are your thoughts on Lapsang's Sushang tea? I like Lapsang Sushang it's the anglicized name for traditional black tea, which I really enjoy. I cannot remember the actual Chinese name for that tea because it's really hard to remember.
So I guess you figured out
it's really good. One of my favorite teas of all time is a sort of take on Lapsang Sushang, which is Jinjin Mai, which is like some of the hardest tea to get legitimately in the world. It's really hard to produce, and so there's a lot of fakes, and there's a lot of like low cost versions of it. It basically costs like $5 a gram if you get the real stuff. So it's super expensive.
Ow.
But if you get a chance and you find something, if you find some Jinjin Mai tea for about $5 a gram, you should pick it up just to try it out because it's really fucking good.
Keith, this is dope.
You gotta have each
Yeah, this game's
other's
sick,
backs
man.
to succeed, you understand?
I like it. You know what the problem with this game is? Why I think it had trouble selling is $60 is a bit steep for a multiplayer-only driving game.
$60 is a bit steep for this game. It was $35 on PSN the first week.
Speed and boost.
Perfect price for this game. I
Bummer.
think. Yeah. For the record, I have only had Jinjinmei two times. One of them was a quote-unquote real one. It was $30 for 5 grams. It was incredibly good. I saved it for half a year and then had it on New Year's Eve while I watched one of my favorite movies. It was great.
Hold on. I got a line
The other
for
one that I
that.
had was sent as a free, like, sample, like 5-gram sample. It was
We got
$7
one
for
more treat
5
for being
grams.
so fierce. Now you've been using
And
up
it
boost
was
like it's going
okay.
out of fashion.
It was I would call it a
That's just fine.
subpar black tea,
Burning
but
off
only
boost
barely
feeds your
so.
rush tank. Go ahead, fill it up.
Go ahead.
Ready for the rush.
I really like coffee, but I can't drink coffee. I don't think it's as good of a tasting drink as tea,
Welcome to
mostly,
Onrush.
even though I really like it still. But the caffeine in coffee gets me, makes me feel like sick.
I feel the rush.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna buy this game.
it's sick. Well, I'll play with you if you buy it.
Okay.
Tea has a lot less caffeine per ounce than coffee, even if you brew it really, really heavy the way that I do. It still has a lot less caffeine than coffee. And then in addition to that, it also has L-theanine, which is an amino acid that sort of counteracts some of the negative effects that caffeine has on your body. Specifically like the crash and the anxiety. I'm definitely more of an iced coffee guy. But that's only because I think that bad coffee tastes better when it's iced. And it's a lot easier to find bad coffee than good coffee. I have a lot of bags of pretty okay coffee that I drink that it's whole beans that I grind up, and I have a mocha pot, which is an Italian brewer, like a stovetop
this?
brewer.
You could say it's a spoiler, but you will.
And I
be
drink that
right
hot.
here,
That's really good.
Giving it everything you've got to be immortalized as the very first champion of the Onrush Founders Trophy. You can relax.
Yeah, drinking a cup of coffee at a normal pace makes me feel really anxious.
That's interesting because more often than not, when I drink coffee, I don't really feel anything.
Mutual thrill seekers.
Yeah.
Kicking back
Yeah.
against a few rules
All right, Kyle, you want some of this tea?
grinding motorsport down.
No, I don't want any tea.
I ain't hating.
Kyle
Just telling
asked
you
me
how
for
it
tea.
happened. We cool? Quick heads
Well, I
up.
changed my
This
mind.
isn't racing. This is a high-speed stampede, so we don't worry about track violations or a little contact. We encourage that behavior all day long, baby. Now,
What was that
if you
about?
ever plan to
What was
take
it about?
over the world,
Why'd you pour
seems
out
like
that
you
water?
can't stop a good
I
thing
poured out
from
the water
being
because
big.
most loose leaf teas,
Here we are,
they have
right
little
at the start.
bits of tea in
Strip
there
back to its
that
unfrost
infuse too
basics.
quickly, and they
Set to the
affect the
sweetest
taste of the
of
tea.
summers.
Um,
Perfect conditions for
and
these 12
especially
founders.
oolongs are rolled really
Kickstart
tightly,
Onrush
so to get the
info
flavor, you want them to sort of open up a little bit before you have your first official brew. It's called a wash or a rinse. It basically gets all the particles out that are small enough to be put in a tea bag, basically, like all just like the loose stuff that's sort of hanging out in there that you don't necessarily want to be drinking.
How did this happen?
You asked the question.
Overdrive is Onrush
I
distilled to its
I don't know. I just I showed up one day and you were like, I have a Chinese tea set. Check out all these
Take down your rivals, get
knowledge and opinions I have about tea.
earn
And I'm like, what happened?
then burn it off
Um,
to the team. The winning team will
I
be
was
those that
watching
can earn and
YouTube
stand the
and I happened on
with each
a
bite
channel
and
about tea,
abilities, 'cause making the most of them could be the difference
and
between
I was watching the way that he was brewing tea, and I was like, what the hell is that guy doing?
What's that guy doing?
What is he doing with this tea? And so I learned what he was doing was a sort of Chinese style, one of several Chinese styles of brewing tea called Gong Fu. and
That's a kung fu. It's a martial art.
yeah, they mean the same thing. I don't know if you're doing a bit, but those are synonyms.
Oh, okay.
Kung fu technically just means like a skill or a practiced art.
Huh.
And so like kung fu martial arts is like the skill of martial arts in the same way that kung fu is the skill of tea.
Got it.
So I was like, that's really interesting. And so I just spent like the last, I don't know, probably like a year.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit longer than a year. Just reading a lot about tea and its history,
Yeah.
and then a lot of unlearning the early things that I learned about it. Because the history of tea is like mired in colonialism and imperialism, and so a lot of the stuff you read about, and then a lot of like the biggest voices in teaching people about tea are also like white people who are exotifying the whole practice.
Sure.
And so it's very complicated. I feel like I finally got a kind of a really good handle on it.
And now that you've spent this time really honing your craft and gaining all this knowledge, do you think you're finally going to be ready to go to TiVo next year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. TiVo is the world's #1 conference for pausing, fast forwarding, and rewinding tea.
Oh.
Do you want to keep playing this, or what's going on?
I mean, do I want to keep playing it? Yes. Do
That's
I
fine. We
need
can just hang
to
out and
keep
play
playing
this for
it?
a minute. We'll cut all this out. We'll maybe put like 5
Why not?
minutes of this
Why
out.
not just make it into its own video?
I could do that. Yeah.
You don't want to lose my TiVo joke.
You're right. I wouldn't want to lose that.
It stands for T-volution.
Oh, you were not doing a TiVo the TV.
No, I was doing an Evo thing. Yeah, it didn't occur to me until the moment I said the word TiVo. That's like, oh, TiVo's already a thing. But I was going for Evo, but for
And
T.
it also occurred to me the moment you said it that TiVo was already a thing.
I lost.
All right, Kyle. So one of the interesting things about the way that I brew tea, Kyle, is that you're brewing it. I use 5 grams of tea for 100 milliliters of water, which is much more than you would find in a tea bag or in a loose leaf steeper thing that you can buy, you know? But you reinfuse it, like, depending on the tea, 5, 10, 15, 20 times. And the idea being that over the arc
Wait, what?
reinfuse it,
What does
5,
that mean?
10. You know how I poured out this thing? This cup of tea?
Okay.
I'll just keep doing that over and over again. And get more tea from the same leaves.
Right.
It's like, look how many leaves are in there. There's a lot of tea in there.
Yeah, that's some tea.
Yeah. It's 5 grams of tea. Here, do you want to try it?
Sure.
Here you go. So this is the first infusion. It's going to be the lightest infusion until the end. It is going to get stronger and stronger as the leaves open up. And you get a nice little arc to it. You get the sort of the fainter flavors at the beginning and the stronger flavors in the middle, and then it sort of fades out again.
Okay.
What do you think of the tea?
Yeah,
Tastes like tea?
Yeah, it tastes like tea. But it's I mean, I like it though.
Good, there you go. That's all I care about. As long as you like it.
Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
I would say if anyone is interested specifically in learning about this kind of tea brewing, my current favorite channel that is sort of like a guide on basics is Tea House Ghost. There's a guy that does a sort of, it started with like, here's how you brew in this way, and then now has moved into, here is an episode dedicated to a specific kind of tea. It's really good show.
Now you say current favorite. Does that mean that this is not the guy that you were originally way into?
True, yes.
Or did you discover that guy sucks?
Yes, I did.
And
that guy is a tea retailer who makes some really good videos. but I feel has a lot of miseducation about certain things. Is prone to telling, I'll call them lies about the tea that they sell, specifically like exaggerating how rare they are, which is a big problem in the tea retailing community. You'd be hard pressed to find a vendor that isn't lying. I was tweeting about certain things. One of tea people's favorite tea vendors. I will only name one vendor, and it's not these people. One of people's favorite tea vendors. I mentioned before a lot of fake Jinjin Mei tea, the really expensive one. They have like a ton of like way under. Basically, they call it like competition grade, but I can tell from the way that it looks that it's fake. Plus, the price gives away that it's fake, and they have like 6 different versions of it. So they're lying about that. People lie about the age of the trees that the tea came from. People lie about the area that tea comes from. There's different areas that are and some of this happens at the retail level. Some of it happens at the farmer level. Some of it happens at the exporter level. There's a bunch of different levels where the lies happen. But if you're a retailer and you're being like, this tea came from 1,600-year-old tea trees, then that is a lie. People, if it's 800 years old, it's probably still a lie. The one exception to the lying.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, they're pretty good guys. The one exception to the lying is a site called White 2 Tea that sells really nice tea. The reason that they're the exception to the lying is that they provide almost no information on the tea that they're selling, and you just have to You just have to decide whether the tea is worth the amount that you're paying for it, because they will not tell you pretty much ever where it comes from, if it's blended or from the same type of tea, if it's from the same area, where it's from. They just kind of won't give any of that out, because they're like, well, it's just all about the taste. But then you've got to be like, well, am I really spending $80 for something that's worth $80 or not?
So
Select object. Interceptor.
So
What's up?
Drive through gates to earn time for your team.
So what has been your experience with buying differently priced teas? Like, when you buy an expensive tea, are you usually like, yeah, this is a good tea that I paid money for, or like...
Yeah. The vendors that I buy from operate in a very specific space. They are specialty markets. The people that buy from them know what things should taste like, and if what they're tasting is wrong. And so it's hard. It's a lot easier to lie about a tea than to make up a price that's fake. So that guy that I learned about tea from first, that I don't like anymore, I still buy that tea. Sometimes I feel bad about it because I don't like that guy.
Wow, you really turned on this guy.
Well, the tea, yeah. But the tea is priced appropriately for what it tastes like. It is not inaccurately priced. The same thing, all that fake Jinjin Mei tea, it's not priced like a real one. It's priced like a fake one. So it's like they might be lying that it's competition grade, but they're not lying that it's worth $9 for 60 grams. You know?
Okay.
Like, that is what it's worth. And so...
And competition grade. Is that...
That's where there are tea competitions, yeah.
Yeah. And what are they competing over?
So there's taste, there's aftertaste, which in China is incredibly important. It's called hugan. It's like it is in some circles more important than the taste of the tea is the aftertaste.
Sure.
There's the aroma. There's the like how long it lasts, at like how many times you can infuse it. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of different stuff.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. There's just the look of it, the way that it was processed. You can tell by sight if a tea is going to be good or not, especially with oolong teas and green teas. teas.
So did Daigo make it to top 8 at this year's tea competition?
No. Sorry. There are competitions for teas like that.
Teas like what?
What is the thing that you said?
I said Daigo. He's a famous fighting game player.
Oh, I assumed that was like a Tiavana style tea.
Oh no.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah, how's Tivana doing?
Not good.
Oh, okay.
Pretend that was what you asked originally. Yeah, Gay Steak Girl says mouthfeel. Yeah, thickness is a big...
Exquisite mouth.
You been watching Bob's Burgers, Kyle?
I saw that episode here at your house like a year and a half ago, and I've never forgotten that creepy old guy.
Yeah, that's one of the shows that Kyle only watches here, but seems to like every time he sees it.
Yeah, I like it enough. I watch so few scripted television shows that there's almost no show good enough for me to watch it.
You're watching all improv now.
Yeah, it's all improv. I've been watching a lot of YouTube recently.
Yeah, like what?
Like, I've been watching, like, Folding Ideas, a channel that focuses mostly on movie criticism, even though I don't watch movies. Like, I'm way more interested in people talking about movies than actually watching them. You know, video game stuff. You know, just whatever.
Drink another, Kyle?
Yeah, sure. Look at this guy. He's okay. That's maybe a bit much.
Guy?
That's a bit much. That fake Daft Punk guy. He's got a bucket on his head.
So why aren't you watching movies?
I just...
Well, it's expensive.
I just don't have the interest. I don't know.
What are you doing? What are you spending your time doing?
Well,
YouTube, I guess.
I don't have that much time to begin with, but yeah, it's like I just like watching YouTube videos recently.
Why don't you
I
have
was
that much
watching
time?
a lot of Giant Bomb.
What are you doing with your time? Working?
Well, I gotta go to work, or I have to go to sleep early because I gotta get up for work early. Then a lot of my days I'm with Amelia Rose until like after she goes to bed. So I'm not getting home until like a couple hours before I have to go to sleep. You know. So like,
Is she not old enough to watch herself?
No, it's actually
She's
it's
3 or 4?
against the law, I think.
How old is she?
She's 3.
3. Is that not old enough to watch herself?
And she needs to watch herself.
Yeah.
Behaviorally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is she doing?
She's doing all kinds of stuff.
She's an asshole.
She's a shitty kid. She's just a jerk baby.
Give me top 3 worst things that your kid does.
Let's see.
And let's see if I agree with you.
You haven't even seen her in like a year.
Well, no, I mean, let's see if I agree that they're all that bad.
I mean,
She watching R-rated movies?
I mean,
that's what kids do.
the number one thing recently, like the past couple months, is that like she just will not go to bed. Like just every single night she's like screaming and fighting about going to bed, and she won't lie down, and she's just it's a whole thing. So she's routinely like she'll go to bed at 7:30, but she might not actually fall asleep until like 10 or later. Yeah, it's the thing.
Do you think maybe before bed you've got to do some more physical activities?
I should probably have her running laps around the house. Probably.
Yeah, suicides.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
That is a sports thing that you do at practice where you have to run and at different lengths and then just do like these really short laps back and forth. It'll be like, imagine a gym and you've got to like run to half court and then back and then full court and then back.
Okay.
Like sprinting.
And that's called suicides.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Why?
Because I guess you do it until you kill yourself. I don't really know the reasoning behind it.
Cool.
Yeah, I ask the sports guys why it's called that. What's the second worst thing that this asshole does? What are the top 3 things you hate about your daughter? Is that cool to ask?
No, not really. It's not that cool.
Is it a little cool?
It's a
Is it cool because of how not cool it is?
It's a little bit cool.
I can't believe how cool
It's like
it is.
smoking in the high school bathroom.
Wow, that's not cool, but it's so not cool.
You know, like you walk into the bathroom and it just smells like cigarettes and you're like, somebody cool was
Somebody
just
really
here.
cool was here. Do you want to hear a tweet that I saw the other day that I have been thinking about for 3 days? It was so funny.
Okay.
It was I'm gonna leave out some of the detail. I'm just gonna do straight dialogue. It was
Wait, this is a tweet.
This is a tweet, but there's like, you know how people do, like there's a description and then a colon and then there's text and then it's like another person.
I've never seen that.
Okay, well I'm just gonna do the dialogue.
Okay.
I told you what you saw was not a ghost broccoli; it was a cauliflower. I know what I saw. I saw it like 3 days ago, and I was thinking about it for like 2 days, and then yesterday I was at a family party.
Like, get that fucking ghost broccoli out of here.
Well, there was a platter of veggies and dip and hummus, and there was both broccoli and cauliflower. So I was like that tweet.
Yeah.
Broccoli and ghost broccoli on the same plate.
Just like that tweet.
Just like that tweet.
Just like that tweet.
This is, you know what I like to think sometimes? Is like, wow, this is just like that tweet.
There's